All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Great to see such a good turnout this evening. We're very grateful that everybody's here, able to make this event. We could not be in a better place in the middle of Silicon Valley to make this announcement and presentations today. Sorry, can everyone hear me okay? Great. This evening, the format will be changed slightly from the agenda as our keynote speaker, Jeff, has to leave for a flight for another meetup that he'll be attending. So we'll be starting with Jeff as our keynote speaker, followed by a panel discussion, and then Wouter shall be presenting the technical side of UnitedBitcoin, sorry. So, to start with, and I'd be very surprised if everybody is not familiar with our keynote speaker and our first guest. It's an honor and privilege to have him here this evening. So Mr. Jeff Garzik, he obviously was a contributor, a core contributor to Bitcoin Core. He is the co-founder of SpaceChain and also the co-founder and CEO of Block. So without further ado, Mr. Jeff Garzik, please step up.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you, and ni hao. And that's most of the Chinese I know. I started working on Rosetta Stone. I can say the dog is large and hello and goodbye, and that's about it. So thank you very much. Hello to the over 200,000 folks that are listening on the live stream today. We're very honored to both have the folks in the room to hear the announcement as well as the folks on the live stream. So hello. I'd like to introduce this project, the UnitedBitcoin chain and community and coin. This is very exciting. It is, to me, the name UnitedBitcoin very much embodies what we're trying to do here with this coin today. It's uniting communities, uniting technologies, and really uniting many different crypto communities with this one particular coin launch. And so why am I excited about it? As an engineer and as an economist, I look at a coin and I say, if I could start on a clean slate, what technologies would I include? If I could start with a clean slate, what economics would I include? And so this is one of the driving forces behind the UnitedBitcoin was that we were enabled to, with a fork, pick the specific technologies that we wanted to include in this chain that is in a bit of a contrast from some of the other chains, some of the other forks, such that when you upgrade a coin, when you upgrade a technology, it takes a very, very long time to upgrade this technology into Bitcoin. If you're familiar with Bitcoin, it took over 2 years just to include the SegWit feature, for example. And we are very fortunate to be able to, with this new coin, pick and choose what are the best technologies, use our experience and our informed knowledge to say this is a good technology, this is a good way to roll out a new coin, this is a technology we don't want, etc. So this is, my experience has given us what we say a heat map of the space of what works and what doesn't work. And that has informed the UnitedBitcoin launch as it is today. So that's one of the things that gets me excited about it. One of the things that, as a former Bitcoin developer, it's very important to me to say this is not a replacement for Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they have a place in this community. They have a place in our wallets, our everyday lives. We're trying to do something very new and very different here. And so Bitcoin will exist on its own. Of course, I have Bitcoin on my phone in my wallet right now, and we will continue on down that path. But similarly, the governance, the foundational aspects, those are some of the things that we have an opportunity to change. And with UnitedBitcoin specifically, we have the opportunity to say what is the leadership, what is the governance, and how can we think about that, how can we change that? Can we potentially make a board of experts, which we are collecting today, and say that we'll get the consensus of those expert opinions to have some input into how this coin is governed, how some of the reserves, which we're going to tell you about, are used. So the foundation, the United Bitcoin Foundation, is one of the key cornerstones that we're putting together around this. That is very much about transparency, accountability. One of the things that is endemic in Bitcoin itself and blockchain is that you can audit the transactions. You can look on the blockchain to see, is this person really storing the amount that they claim, et cetera. And so auditability, transparency, accountability, we have an opportunity with United Bitcoin to make a fresh start and take a consensus of these approaches. Now, another thing that excites me about this is that after the initial coins are distributed, there are going to be some reserves which are not spent, but they are held as almost collateral for a stable currency. And so this is in contrast to if many of you are familiar with fractional reserve banking, that's where you deposit, say, $10 into a bank account, the bank lends out $30, $40, $50. They print money. And the blockchain community does not like that. We are the opposite, and the United Bitcoin is trying to set a new standard whereby if we have, let's say, a $5 on deposit, then United Bitcoin will issue $1 worth of backed stable currency. And so this is called over-collateralization, such that you may have heard, you may see Bitcoin's price go up, et cetera, very volatile. This is the insurance policy that ensures that the stable currency layer, I'd call it a better tether, is going to be, again, transparent, auditable, and not impacted by the volatility that you see in the prices on the markets today. Another very interesting aspect that excites me about United Bitcoin is that part of the Unite is bringing multiple communities together. One of the things that we see with some of these forks is that it's somewhat like a stock split, where you hold 1,000 Bitcoin, and there's a fork, and now you hold 1,000 Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin Cash. And so you get an equal amount, but that's only to the holders of the Bitcoin community. What we're doing differently with United Bitcoin is that we're making UB available to the quantum community, to the Ethereum community, to the ItShares community. We want to bring all these communities together and give them some initial UB in order to fully participate in this new United Bitcoin community. So that is I hesitate to use the word airdrop, but it's a new and unique way to do this sort of coin initial distribution, I love the acronym IFO, to initiate this new coin. It is not just one community benefits, but many communities benefit. Now further, this is what I observe over Bitcoin development over many years. A fork is the best way to introduce new technologies at a very rapid pace. Again, it's taken multiple years just to get one new feature into Bitcoin. That's a good quality in that it is very stable, very secure on the on the software side, but it changes very slowly at the same time. And what we have the opportunity to do here is to have a faster pace of innovation. It's enabled us to say, what are the best technologies right at this moment, and incorporate those into this new coin. And so there are several technologies that Wouter will describe in detail during his presentation. Some of them are the segregated witness or SegWit feature. We have included a large scalability increase to 8 megabytes, which brings lower transaction fees, much, much lower. I saw on Twitter yesterday someone was transferring $385,000 US in a Bitcoin transaction. He spent $4,000 in fees. $4,000. And that's simply not acceptable to me, as I want these coins to be available to developing markets, to emerging markets, to people who make $2 a day, $5 a day, $10 a day. They need to be able to access these technologies as well. And so we've engineered the scalability in UnitedBitcoin to be much higher, and therefore will have much lower transaction fees. Similarly, we're going to include from the Ethereum and the quantum communities smart contract capability, and a micropayments feature called the Lightning Network. And so these features are part of the set that's on the roadmap that UnitedBitcoin has laid out. And then finally, one of the things that puts this above the rest is, as one of my co-founders likes to say, many of these are two guys, a white paper, and a dog, and that's it. And there is a significant development team behind this. There's a significant board and executive team behind this. And it is really being done, although we like to joke it's being done at China speed, is very fast. But at the same time, there's a significant team behind it to move this thing forward. And so unlike some other forks, they might be just one developer, one website, etc. This is a much, much more notable effort. And so this is, in sum up, the UnitedBitcoin project is a project that I believe moves the community forward. This project moves the mining and exchange and mining pool and community ownership forward. It moves the technology landscape forward. And so that's why we see already it's a very, very fast-paced project. We already see support from exchanges, from miners and mining pools, and wallets as well. And we'll be announcing more of that roadmap, and Wouter will detail some of that roadmap later on. And so this is, in sum, what I think that UnitedBitcoin brings to the table. It's that better tether. It's, I think, a excellent competitor to the USDT, the Tether project. It's uniting all these technologies in a way that allows you to move at a much, much more faster pace. It has very good support, very wide support from wallets, exchanges, miners, etc., out of the gate. And it has a real development team behind it, not just two guys, a white paper, and a dog. And so I'd like to thank you very much for listening. This is a quick introduction to UnitedBitcoin, and after this, we are going to have a panel and then have some more detail on the system. So I'm very happy to be involved. I'm very happy that we're putting together this, the foundation and the governance, and there's really a lot of thought around that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Moving on swiftly to our second part of this evening is our panel. So, obviously Jeff, who's already been up, will be joining the panel. Our moderator, it will be Alex Yang. Alex Yang is the founder and CEO of FundV, and he's also the CEO of UnitedBitcoin. Alex actually studied here in the United States and gained his PhD in mathematics here, so very familiar with the region and the areas. Alex, please step up. Our first guest on the panel is Wouter van der Schacht. I hope I've said that right. Close enough, he tells me. So Wouter's Dutch national. He lives in Hong Kong, and he's the founder and MD of a multi-currency wallet called CoinPro, which has in excess of 1 million users. So Wouter, please come join us. And as I've mentioned, last but not least, Jeff shall be joining the panel. Oh, sorry, apologies. We do have one more guest, and I really hope that I'm going to say this name right. If I don't, I apologize. We have Mr. Xia Hong. He is a founder of Bodhi. Please step up. Is that okay? Great.
All right, thank you, Marco. Hi, everyone. Name is Alex. I'm currently living in Hong Kong. And I'm founder and CEO of Fundway, which is specializing in investing in blockchain. And I'm also a board member of UnitedBitcoin. And thank you for coming all the way to here. And I wish you will find out more about what UnitedBitcoin, or you call UB, is about. So I'm going to start with questions with this gentleman. So my first question is to Jeff. Just give me a second. Let me get my loads. Put it down here. All right.
I'll WeChat it to you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. So Jeff, what do you see you be in a year? I mean, 5 years. Normally people ask that in 3-5 years, but we are in the blockchain industry, so I will ask you, what do you see you be in 1 year?
That's right. In 5 years, it's pretty much that moves at a blockchain pace. At our company, we like to say we live in dog years, where 1 year is like 7 years. It moves so fast. And so looking at the roadmap, it's a very ambitious roadmap, but we have the tech team to actually implement this roadmap. So it's very exciting. And so in 1 year, I would see a mature set of nodes and wallets, several mobile apps which understand UB, full rollout at exchanges. But then looking at the roadmap, we'd have the Lightning Network rolled out. So one of the exciting new aspects is micropayments. Some of the reserves that I mentioned, that goes to a stable coin type product. And so we will see either a stable basket of currencies underlying a stable product, which exchanges and folks with cryptocurrencies can hold and use, such that it's not very volatile. That's one of the criticisms that this solves, as well as many of the other privacy, fungibility, new features that are on the roadmap. This is something that will be completed in the first couple quarters. And so from there, it's just a very fast-paced, moving project. I'm very excited.
Well, it's a lot to do. So my second question actually, let's actually move to the Xiahong. Let's come back to you so that we can have a turn. So Xiahong, as a founder of Bodhi, is a prediction blockchain apps. So I knew Xiahong from 2 years back, and that's when the Ether was pretty much just launched.
Yes,
right?
the revolution of this crowd sale.
Yeah, so I knew that you're a veteran, investor of cryptocurrency. My question for you is, will you invest in UnitedBitcoin?
Well, yeah, I started to invest in this area since 2011. That's 6 years ago. And yeah, I think I'm very lucky to be in this area. Like, I found Bitcoin and later on Ethereum, and right now a lot of very awesome projects. I think I have a lot of like strong belief in this area. To my understanding, I used to have a saying like, I think Ethereum is becoming a root for almost all the other tokens. And Bitcoin is actually a way bigger root, or it's actually an entrance for the whole crypto industry. So if Bitcoin is gone, then there will be no more like a future for this area. So I do wish Bitcoin gonna be like a growth as fast as possible. However, like Jeff just now gave a talk, Bitcoin it's so decentralized and so secure, so stable, but the pace to evolve as time goes is really slow. It's just because you know, it's such a big community, and there's so many like different party, like community, developer, miner, and there's exchange. Everyone has different view, like interest in this area. That's why it actually blocked the creativity for Bitcoin. I do see like UnitedBitcoin, it's actually a new way to try like new thing and try to explore like some different way from what Bitcoin it is doing. So for one, I think the name is very good. For me, like United, it means it tries to group up or united again together with those community developers as well as miners. I think it tried to unite all of them together. Second thing, it also tried to bring all those cool technology, Lightning Network, Ethereum, and what already built in Bitcoin together. So it has very great future. And also, a lot of people ask me like, hey, IFO sounds like in this area people can copy money so easily, just like what the conventional fiat system works. But I don't agree with this part. I believe all those folk who has like a great resource backed and will have serious roadmap to develop the future will sustain, and all others will just go away. And I think for me, it's like Bitcoin plus other folks together is the whole Bitcoin. So I mean, for now, I cannot tell like which one gonna survive in the long-term future, like what's gonna happen in 5 years. But in first year, I definitely would like to invest in UnitedBitcoin, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. So that is yes. I take it as yes.
Definitely
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Xiaohong. And since Xiaohong mentioned United, UB try to unite the various communities. Actually, we saw a very interesting phenomenon that this project is actually united to unite people first. So we see this project is comprised of American leaders and the European executives and the Chinese developers. So it's united people from all over the world. So Walter, could you tell us? Could you actually tell us what's the reason behind this?
Well, I think that you're talking about East and West and bridging that, right? So
yeah.
I've been in Asia now for almost 20 years, and the first time I went to Asia, I had this impression that the West was still very much far ahead of Asia in many ways. Yes. But now, when I go to China, I go to a remote area with my wife, who's Chinese. I go to a place that's in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the mountain, and when we have to pay, she grabs her smartphone and she scans a code, and it doesn't matter where you are. Even in the village, there are no cars. They still use horses sometimes, yet they can pay with WeChat Pay, Alipay. Yes. Yes. So to me, this is amazing because this is very far ahead. Even for Hong Kong, where I live now, but we don't have anything like that in the Netherlands. So for me, in China, you have this. They have a lot of they have caught up so much compared to the West, and in so many ways. And the only way they can do that is if they have the people with the skill set required to develop those things. So I think that if you can use those people, not use, but if you can have access to all those skills, then you have an advantage over all the other teams that are trying to do everything in the West. The only problem is that you need to overcome a very significant language barrier. But if you can overcome that, I mean, for me it's a barrier, but if you can overcome that, and I think that we can, then we can, there's a very great chance that we can use that to our advantage. So I think that's ideal. You can use the best from both worlds.
Yes. Yeah, I know that actually for the Android tool app, the apps, 8 out of 10 of the Android utility tool apps were actually run by Chinese. So the Chinese developers are pretty strong in that field. So I think if I have some takeaway from you is that China is not only good at the Alipay or WeChat Pay, good at all the speed train, they're also going to be very good at the blockchain developer community.
Anything technological.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Oh, he is married to a Chinese woman. He knows what he has to answer. All right. So let's move to Jeff. So Jeff, you just mentioned a very grandy plan for UnitedBitcoin for the next year. And we understand that you and your team are leading a group of Chinese developers, right? I mean, they are always united of the community, everything. But my question is, actually, what's the biggest challenge or what's the risk for UB to grow from here?
Absolutely, and I would say that the complexity of blockchain is one of the large challenges. Is that and that's why we have that skilled development team that understands blockchain. Is that rolling out these the fork, which is successful and has already occurred, and rolling out each of these items in the roadmap. Each of those are going to be a challenge. The Lightning Network, the privacy and fungibility features, the atomic swaps and smart contract features that are going to be rolled out. Each of these is very complex, and you have to get it right, otherwise people lose money. And so that's right up there with medical devices, airplane software that's very, very complex, and you just can't get it wrong. And so from that perspective, I would say that the complexity of blockchain is one of the biggest challenges with this project. But at the same time, we have the initial developer team, and we're growing the UB community, so we will bring more developers on as time moves on, is going to help meet that challenge. And so the complexity of blockchain in general is something that a very select few developers fully understand. And I think that we have found the team that has that. Another challenge is that, like Wouter mentioned, is bridging that gap between East and West. And maybe it's a little bit cliche, but I do feel very strongly. My first time in China was January of 2016, and I'm a big fan of history, and it's a very rich land, and I love visiting there. But one thing that I see is that there's a Chinese blockchain community and there's a Western blockchain community, and they don't talk very much, and that's a shame. And I think and I hope that this project will unite those communities, bring them together, and so that we can have a very open dialogue.
Wow, that's very nice of you.
I think to summarize a little bit what Jeff said, in China we have saying 天下大事，分久必合，合久必分, which means, like all cryptos in this world will be forked when it's united for a long time, or when it united again when it's forked for a long time. Yeah.
That just echoed Xia Hong's the name of his chain is called Bodhi, and actually very philosophical thinking of that. Xia Hong is a believer of Buddhism. So actually, I have a better question for him later. Okay. So now let's move to water. Okay. So my next question to water is that all of us knew that there are more than like 20 something forks happening since ever since September was a lot of Bitcoin, BCD, BCH, Bitcoin God, everything, right? So what would you do to make Bitcoin a better fork? Why do you think you can do better than other forks? Yeah.
Okay, that's an easy one. I think it's similar to what Jeff was saying, actually. It's about the people behind it. So if you look at some of the other forks and the number of people behind it, it's very limited. You have a website, a guy, and what did you say? A white paper and a dog. That's most of the forks out there. There's just 2 or 3 people. I believe that with UnitedBitcoin it is different. The development team alone is I think more than 15 people. It's very big, and then there's a lot of supporting people. We have a very strong board with people with a lot of resources, bringing a lot of skills. It's totally different story. I mean, it's still going to be challenging, but I think there's a very great chance that it's going to be successful.
Yeah, so I think you come along all the way with equipped with what the resources you've got, and since the idea of UnitedBitcoin is very open, that you're gonna have more people to contribute to this community. So that make it easy answer for you. But I understand, as Jeff mentioned, there are still a lot of challenges we have to deal with. All right, so since Jeff is really has a flight to catch, okay, guys, so we have to cut it short, but I haven't forgot our friend Xia Hong, okay? So my last question for Xia Hong is, okay, we know that, so tell us a little bit about Bodhi, what Bodhi does.
Okay, so Bodhi is a next generation decentralized prediction market. So what prediction market means is anyone can trade and exchange the information based on the future events results. Example could be like future stock trading or spot betting or insurance. Well, when you purchase insurance means you predict some bad thing gonna happen to you. So all those use cases are prediction markets. And we are building this on top of blockchain so that it will be decentralized, it will be self-governed by all those token holders. And we are building this on Quantum.
I see, okay, yeah. Quantum is a big sponsor behind all this, and that's the courtesy of Patrick.
Yes.
And
Yes.
even we have today's gift, 12.12, that is December 12th, which is also out of the courtesy of Quantum.
Yes.
Quantum is a big family in China, and we also got big supporter by other China, the pillar community from China as well, like Asia. And Ryan is a big sponsor of this. They're gonna join the board very soon, I think. I hope. Okay, and we're talking to them, and so we understood that Xia Hong is doing one thing, predicting. So my question for you is that where do you see UB price, let's say, in 3 months?
Well, that's a very surprise question. I think short answer cannot be to the moon.
Oh, I like that. But I mean, no way. UB actually is kick off with a humble start.
Yeah.
I don't think the price is everything.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But it's really interesting for all those holders.
Yeah, I would like to tell what I'm thinking here. So, like what IFO or like a fork chain has is they already have a very strong community. Where they are from? They are from the original Bitcoin community, right? So they are users, And United Bitcoin are also supported by strong enough mining power, and there's also like very strong community back on that, and developer as well, like developer from both from China and the West side. So it's gonna be, you know, there is intrinsic value, and besides of that, plus those, like for example, United Bitcoin gonna bring those Ethereum like smart contract on top of this platform. Long-term wise, there are gonna be a lot of application built on that. So given all of this, I'm very optimistic about the value and the price of this token. If you want to know like a very specific number, probably it's very hard to predict. But that's why we built Bodhi. So I think when we launch in February, everyone can, well, feel free and welcome to like predict the price of the UV.
Bodhi price, okay. All right. So, I think, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think, everyone can participate in the prediction on Bodhi, and I think that would be cool. Besides of that, I will mention like when we found Bodhi, it's like, oh, there's prediction market on West, which are built on Ethereum. And we are building Bodhi for China, so it's like a prediction market for China, for the East. I think it would be very great to see like when United Bitcoin, where you have Ethereum compatible thing built. I think it would be very interesting to build a brand new prediction market on United Bitcoin, and so that we can predict the price of United Bitcoin on United Bitcoin itself.
All right, so thank you, Xiaohong, and that's a lot about Bodhi. Okay, we have to bring it back. So I am going to add one more question to Jeff. So if you have to list the 3 key strengths of United Bitcoin, what are they?
Well, I would say, again, the team. So starting with a good development executive team and the board. That's absolutely one. Starting uniting the communities. So it's not just a photocopy of Bitcoin, but we're bringing in the quantum community, the Ethereum, the H-shares communities to really begin to participate in the very short term. And then uniting all these technologies. And so we're uniting the SegWit, the scalability, the Lightning, et cetera. It's really living up to its namesake of uniting all these.
Yeah, okay. And so we know that, decentralized, well, it's only my personal view. I think decentralization sometimes is a little bit overrated. And I think if we make good use of the right decision, it might make a different approach, I'll say. And I understand that we were going to reserve every UB to issue some pegged currency token. What's the difference between that and Tether?
Oh, absolutely. I would say transparency and accountability are the keys, is that you can review on the blockchain and guarantee that the collateral, the reserve for this stable pegged currency built on UB is fully backed. And in fact, the plan is to back it 2x, 3x, so that you're collateralized 200% to 300% out of the gate. And in contrast, you see something like Tether, that's a fiat bank account. It's not audited, it's not transparent, it's not on the blockchain. And so you don't know if they're literally just printing money. Whereas in this case, you can fully audit that. It's transparent to the entire community.
Good to know. Okay, so I think we're really running out of time for Jeff's flight. Let's give this gentleman a good applause, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so.
Hi, thank you very much, gentlemen. Jeff, have a safe flight. Thank you very much. Xiaohong, Xie. Next up, Vuta, unfortunately for him. He's back up here now. And he's going to be going through more the technical detail of the whole project. And he'll give you a bit more of an introduction on himself while he's up here. So please, Vuta. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Marco. Okay, so far we talk a little bit about the vision and the big picture of the United Bitcoin. It's up to me to give you a little bit more detail about exactly what is changing and how we're going to do that, and how the forking procedure is different from all the other forks. I actually have some slides for that. I think we're done with this one, right? So. Okay, this is a little bit about me. My name is Wouter van der Schacht. I'm from the Netherlands. I've lived in Hong Kong now. I've been living in Asia for almost 20 years. Originally, I came there because of a woman. And now it's another woman. And it's another country, but I'm now married already and together with my wife for 10 years. My background is in IT. I started in hosting and security, and later on that changed in 2013 into blockchain and cryptocurrencies. I do run a multi-currency online wallet. It's called CoinPro, which hands out fractions of cryptocurrencies every day to every user, and it hands out more if you refer your friends. So do refer your friends, and you'll get more. I'm now also Executive Director of UnitedBitcoin, and during the rest of my talk I'll focus on that, and I'll continue with that. Okay, we already touched base on this a little bit. What is UnitedBitcoin? Well, technically, I think it's clear it's a fork, or IFO, it's a fancy term. It's an initial fork offering. It's based on the Bitcoin, and the website is on ub.com. Now, I'm aware there are some other projects, websites online that also have the name UnitedBitcoin. Some of these websites are questionable, but that's not us. We are only on ub.com. What else? It's a currency with faster transaction times because of the on-chain scalability improvements, the increased block size, and the implementation of SegWit. As a result, mining fees are also lower, or transaction fees. It's a smart contract platform based on the unspent transaction output model. But more than that, more than the technology, it's a team of people. We already mentioned that a few times. These people, they share the same vision. It's the vision of rapid innovation and uniting communities and just pushing the entire ecosystem and everything forward. It's not really meant to replace anything, just to complement everything. So other than what we are, there are also a few things that we are not. Obviously, we're not a scam or a money grab or a Ponzi scheme or anything. We're not any replacement. We are not a short-term project. Actually, we have a roadmap. We'll see the roadmap later. It's just not. It's not like other forks where they just increase the block size and that's it. We actually have a plan for the next several years. And again, the team is very big. We're just not like one guy with a white paper. Now, why for me? Because I have seen other forks, and I didn't participate in those, or at least I didn't join them. And why is that? There are several good reasons for that. The first word is progress. You know, I don't like you especially big Bitcoin and the implementation of SegWit. There was this stagnation of several years and these discussions between all the developers, and at some point they were like just throwing mud at each other. So I don't like that. So I like progress. I like the team of people. I like people that are competent and know what they're doing. I do like the technical improvements and the rapid innovation that is possible when you fork. Because when you fork, you can just cherry pick the technologies that you'd like, everything that worked in other projects, and then you can just improve your own, in this case, UnitedBitcoin. UnitedBitcoin has a unique forking procedure. Most forks, what do? They take a snapshot at the moment of the fork, and then you have to export your private key, import it into the new coin or wallet, and then you get an equivalent balance of whatever you had on the Bitcoin. Now, we fully respect that, but we do it differently. And as a result, it allows us to have a distribution model for other communities as well. I'm going to explain later how that works, but we can distribute United Bitcoin also for Ethereum holders or Litecoin holders or Qtum holders or HShare holders. And as a result of that, people are not required to flip their coins. So what you see is when there's a fork, they sell the altcoins, they get Bitcoins for it, and as a result, the price of the Bitcoin goes to the moon. That's good if you're holding Bitcoins and you're trading, but it's not so great for adoption and everything. So because now that is not necessary, this is also the first fork which is designed to prevent that, or to prevent influencing the Bitcoin price too much. And again, the last thing why I like it is because it's transparent and accountable, especially with regards to the collateral that Jeff was talking about earlier. I'll get to that later. Because that is transparent and everybody can see it on the blockchain, it's queryable. So that's a major advantage. It's accountability. We discussed this already. I'm going to repeat that. These are the technical improvements. Some of them are already in place. So the block size has been increased to 8 megabytes. SegWit has been implemented. We are now working on the smart contract functionality. I have seen it work in test environments. I've been to China like last week. It's already very far ahead. We expect it to be operational within the next 2 or 3 months. And after that, we will be working on the Lightning Network, which is it's doable to do that quite fast because it relies quite heavily on the implementation of SegWit. Of course, it has replay tag protection. The way that is implemented is by changing the SIG hash signatures. And then there are, Jeff touched base on that already, privacy and fungibility improvements. So some people think that that is not necessary. I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. I'll explain to you why fungibility is. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term, but it means that every coin is the same. So it doesn't matter what it has done in the past, it has the same value as all the other coins. Well, technically that is true with Bitcoin. Every 0.000001 Satoshi looks the same as every other one. But this is not everywhere, this is not true everywhere in the world. As long as virgin coins, which are freshly minted coins from the miners, as long as they are sold at a premium, and as long as in some jurisdictions you can be incriminated for past transactions on a certain address on the blockchain, they are not truly fungible. So fungibility is very important, which is why we are working on ways to improve it. Now, as for privacy, it goes hand in hand. You can only have fungibility with privacy because it's the only way to make sure that the past doesn't influence the present. And privacy, of course, is important for another reason, which is privacy. Like, if you ask other people, how much money do you have in the bank? Nobody wants to answer that question. But yet, at the same time, these people are perfectly happy using the Bitcoin, where everybody can just query the Bitcoin and see how much balance is in a certain address. So once people start realizing that, and they become a target, because you do become a target if you have like 100,000 Bitcoins, it's going to become important to improve the privacy features of the coin. Now, there are several ways to do that. We haven't determined yet how to do that. There are other coins that are they're very good at that. They use different implementations. You have CoinJoin, you have ring signatures, you have Seiki Snarks protocol. We haven't decided which one is going to be used yet, but you can rest assured it's on the roadmap. Lastly is the atomic swaps. That's the ability to send coins to another ledger. So, for example, send UnitedBitcoin to Litecoin and the other way around. that can only be implemented after the successful implementation of the Lightning Network. So it's going to be after that. But once that's been implemented, we will start to see the emergence of truly decentralized exchanges, because that won't be possible without atomic swap functionality. Okay, the forking procedure. It's 4 phases. The first one is completed. There was the automatic distribution phase. Basically, that's the part where we take a snapshot and of all the active addresses, we give the equivalent balance in United Bitcoin to your United Bitcoin addresses. An active address is defined as an address with activity of the last, I believe it was 30 days on the blockchain. So those people or addresses automatically get United Bitcoin. If your Bitcoins are older than that, or if you somehow miss that phase, there is a manual distribution phase where if you send Bitcoin to yourself, and you let us know, we will see it on the blockchain, and we will manually distribute or give you the United Bitcoin. That's until January 3. After that is the cross-chain distribution phase. That's what I just spoke about. So if you're holding coins from a supported other community like Ethereum or Qtum or a bunch of others, there will be a submission procedure similar to the one in the manual distribution phase, and you can also claim your United Bitcoins. In the 4th phase, which is actually what Jeff was talking about earlier, is the remaining of the inactive balances. I think I didn't explain that. So in phase 1, we have the automatic distribution, which refers to the active addresses. That's an address with the balance and that activity in the last 30 days or so, and an inactive address is an address that's not active, so there's a balance in there. And because it wasn't claimed in either phase 1 or 2, it goes to a multi-signature wallet controlled by the United Bitcoin Foundation, which will be used to develop the ecosystem. And the way it does that is by locking those funds and issuing a token with what Jeff said, the over-collateralization of the United Bitcoin. So all of this means that it's the first cross-chain fork. So I think that this forking procedure in some way or another is going to be copied by other future forks because of the benefits. And it's also the first fork not designed not to influence the price too much. All right, so this one is finished. These are some conditions on how to manually distribute the United Bitcoins. For example, when you send it to yourself, the output address has to be listed as an input address. Anyway, when you want to claim this, you can just go to the website and click in the menu on Get United Bitcoin, and you can see everything explained in detail there. This is the same for the cross-chain distribution. This is what I discussed earlier to develop the ecosystem. So the remaining of the inactive balances will be locked. It will be managed by the United Bitcoin Foundation. And the new token will be issued on the basis of collateral. And every major transaction there is fully transparent through the blockchain, which is the 5th reason of why I like United Bitcoin. There's no pre-mining. It has a white paper. I'm not aware of any other forks having any white paper. The team members, they are visible on the website. There's no question mark or anything. It's just a photo and a profile of everybody. It has a clear roadmap, and again, the collateral, the reserves are published and is fully accountable through the blockchain. So, how can you get the United Bitcoin? I'm sure you're all dying for it. You can get it through the fork. Actually, if you had any Bitcoins, you probably have some United Bitcoins right now. If you can go through phase 1 through the automatic distribution, you can just download the United Bitcoin wallet. And you can just go through that procedure. Just import your private key there, of course, after you take all the safety and security precautions. And then you will have UnitedBitcoin. Another way is to mine it. Mining pools are operational. At the moment, I think we are at 28 petahash. I think tomorrow another 27 is coming, so that's a very significant amount. And lastly, you can get it through exchanges. So you can buy it. You can, once it gets listed, I think we're already listed on 1 or 2 exchanges. You can just buy it against Bitcoin or US dollar or. What is next? Yeah, good question. Support for wallets, of course, desktop, web-based. We have approached them already and are continuing to approach them. Can get listed on exchange or additional services like coin swapping services, escrow services, those kind of things. Formalization, legalities with regards to the foundation, and setting everything up properly. And then the roadmap is a living document that changes all the time. New features are being added, policies are changing. This is if you want more information. It speaks for itself. You can go to the website, or you can ask me any questions. We have a Twitter, we have a LinkedIn. I think we have an email address as well. Oh, all right. Well, I think it's finished. Thank you for your time. I'm not sure how long we're staying, but if you have some questions, come afterwards. We do have a little bit of time, I think. Do we?
Yes, I think we do. What's what time we? Not too much time, but yes, if there are a couple of questions for Wouter. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great talk. Wouter, would you mind just leaving the Wouter?
Yes.
Would you mind just leaving the contact details, our Twitter, etc.? Because I had some people saying they're having difficulty viewing it online, so we'll just leave that up for you. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending this evening. Very grateful. Unfortunately, because Jeff had to leave a little bit early, we're ahead of schedule, and we're wrapping up now. So thank you all very much. Hope you all get home safely. See you soon.